How they affect me. I just want to say very quickly also on the social thing is that while I particularly struggled with social interaction when I was at school, when I was on holiday, like when we went to caravan sites, because we always went to Devon every single year on holiday when I was growing up, and also Stratford-upon-Avon, we went to a caravan site there every summer holidays because my grandfather lived up there in the Midlands. I found it a lot easier to play with kids there. Like, I actually found it really exciting. It was actually one of the highlights of a holiday, was going to the caravan site and trying to make friends, because I was like, this was a kind of like a situation where it was a lot easier for me to make friends. But obviously, when I say friends, I mean it was only like playing with them, I don't know, for, like while we were on holiday sort of thing. But I found it a lot easier to relate to kids in that context. I think because obviously, like at school, like people have already formed like groups and stuff, or friendship groups, and it's like very different. But on holiday, like kids were a lot more willing to play with me and stuff. And yeah, so I wasn't aloof at all. I really wanted friends, and I wanted to play with kids, and I enjoyed it when they would say, yeah, let's play. So I wasn't like that stereotype of an autistic person who likes to be on their own and doesn't want to play with other kids. I really did want to play with other kids. It's just that I really struggled on the whole interaction front, particularly with my peer group, and particularly when I was at school. Was where I really struggled. Like I said, it obviously got a lot worse as a teenager, because as a teenager you can no longer say, hello, would you like to be my friend? Let's go and play tag. Like, it doesn't work like that when you're a teenager, but you then have to have conversations with people. And I found it really, really difficult to know what to talk about and how to maintain conversations, and it was so confusing. I just had absolutely no idea. And for social stuff, it even got even worse as a teenager. Yeah, it got a lot worse. My parents sent me to a woman after school for private tutoring, someone that my dad knew. It was mainly to help me with maths and comprehension at secondary school, because she lived at the back of the school. She used to give me biscuits and orange juice, so that was like, I guess that kind of was like a motivation. I didn't really like going to see her, but I liked getting her biscuits and the orange juice, because it was like all like homework, and she always sent me homework and stuff. I didn't really like to do work, so no kid particularly likes to go and have to do that after school. But she was nice. Yeah, one of the things she said to my parents was that I did tend to talk mainly about myself a lot. I didn't really ask her questions, and I mainly talked about I mainly talked about babies and stuff, because that was my interest at the time. I do remember actually in one of my diaries, I actually wrote down a conversational script of things to ask her when I saw her, because I was obviously aware. Even before I was diagnosed, I was obviously aware that I had these problems. So I was writing it out to think of what to talk to her about, other than just talking about myself. At that point in time, I blamed my parents because I thought they hadn't socialised me enough. That was the reason I came to for my issues. I thought it was a socialisation failure. That was my explanation for it. They sent me maybe to Brownies, or I actually really, really wanted to go to Brownies, but unfortunately they were all full up, so I couldn't join. But I wanted to join these clubs because I thought it would help me with my social skills. And then I said to my mum, if only you sent me to ballet or stuff. And my mum said, well, we did try, but you didn't want to. Later on, I did go to dance classes when I was a teenager, but that was because of Kate Winslet, and because I wanted to be like Kate Winslet, and because she went dancing, I wanted to go dancing. For kids there were all younger than me, so I found it easy to relate to them. They weren't friends, but I got on with them while I went dancing. But they're all younger than me. So what other awesome traits? So talked about interests. I think the other big one that doesn't often get talked about a lot. Oh yeah, my brain. I'm just going off in a tangent, and then I suddenly get one idea, and then I get another idea. No, what I wanted to say was that I think one big autism trait I have is often I get very fixated on one thought, like an idea. Now, some of this can be OCD driven, but I think a lot of it is also autism driven. So someone might say something, and I then can't stop fixating on what they've said, because particularly if they say something I don't agree with, or that if I feel that they might have a particular view of me that isn't correct, or I don't like what they might be thinking about me, but I'm not quite sure, I end up obsessing about it and thinking, I need to correct them, I need to make them see things like this because what they thought is wrong, or stuff like that, and it's really, really annoying. So I don't know, part of it might be a little bit OCD based, now it does make me anxious, but I think part of it is also an autism thing, because it's like I need to kind of things to be my way, and it's like I need to control things. And if people say things I don't agree with, I sort of fixate on it, and I sort of want to correct them, sort of thing. Not all the time. It's if they say things that, if it's something that's important to me. If it's not important to me, and they say something that I don't agree with, I don't obsess about it. But if they say something that is important to me, particularly if it pertains to something to do with myself, like they've said, then I will end up obsessing about it. So again, I guess that comes down to difficulties letting things go. You know, where you end up obsessing. I mean, I'm a very obsessive person by nature. Some of that's autism, some of that's OCD, and there's a lot of crossover between the two for me. So it can be sometimes hard to know what's what. Just basically, I'm obsessive. I fixate on things. Things that actually aren't useful, which is annoying, you know, because it's not useful, they're just distracting, you know. And I think one of the other big autism traits I have, which is often not really talked about, I guess will come under executive functioning. Now, this is something that I only really found out about not that long ago. Like, I didn't really know about this, or I didn't really know it had a name until not that long after my diagnosis, and I'm still learning about it. But I live by routine, so if something's in a routine, and if I'm self-motivated to do something, and if I'm interested in something, I will do it. The problem is that if I'm not interested in something, or if someone else is trying to get me to do something I don't want to do, or if it's something that comes under the category adulting, but it's not interesting, or it doesn't come under my routine, I find it really hard to do it, to the point of where I get anxious, I feel like lethargic over it, my brain won't do it, it like freezes, and literally it's kind of like a sort of paralysis, a mental paralysis, where I cannot do it. So for example, filling out forms comes under that. I find forms really anxiety provoking. It's not something I'm interested in. Now, I know lots of people say, oh yeah, we all have to do things we're not interested in. I get that a lot, because from people who don't understand autism, like, they think it's some kind of like I'm being deliberately lazy or something. I don't know. And when I'm the least lazy person there is, I'm extremely productive. I hate doing nothing. I like to be doing stuff. But it's really hard to explain, but it's like things that I'm not self-motivated in, or that don't give me an interest, or that don't fall under my routine, or that kind of feel kind of like someone else is imposing something on me, that is really difficult and boring, essentially. It's more than I don't want to do it situation, because I want to do it. I want to be like a normal person who could do these things. It's like my brain literally freezes and gets like really anxious over it. If it's like an imposition sort of thing. But I don't know if any other autistic people experience that, if you know what I'm talking about, any other autistic people watching this. So yeah, so things like filling out forms, other things, trying to think. So if someone asks me to fill out a form, or like say I get sent an email where I need to fill out a form or something, it tends not to get done. I also really struggle with like organisation skills. So like I want to tidy things, or I want to clean things, or I want to put things in order, and yet I find it so overwhelming that I just end up sitting there procrastinating, not doing it, because I don't know where to begin, and it's just so, I don't know, just so overwhelming, and it makes me feel really lethargic, and I just can't, my brain kind of freezes, I just can't do it. It's not in my routine, it's not in my interests. Sorry, it's not something I'm interested in. Like if I'm so basically, if I'm self-motivated to do something because it's internally satisfying, I will be the most productive person in the world. You can see that with my knitting, you can see that with my cooking, you can see that with groups I attend because I genuinely enjoy attending them. You can see that with the way I live my life in terms of my routines. I got a university degree because I was extremely self-motivated to get that, because I was interested in studying, because I was genuinely interested in all the organisation and form filling, by the way, my mum did. That's what I mean. But if it's something that I'm interested in and that has a clear structure and that is generally rewarding for me, I will be the most productive, self-motivated person there is. But anything that's overwhelming, or anything that I find doesn't have something that I'm interested in, I just seize up. And I sort of feel this is actually getting worse in a weird way the older I get, because when I was younger, like, I wouldn't be able to do a university degree now. I only did that because my mum was doing all the cooking, all the cleaning, everything else, so I could mono-focus on that one thing. I wouldn't be able to do that now because I would find it too overwhelming having to do that and cook and everything else, like all these other things. I'll be like, I can't, I could, if it's something that's in my current frame of interest, again, I can monofocus really well. But if it's not, or there's lots of other competing things that I have to organise, my brain just freezes. So I do spend a lot of time procrastinating, and anything that I don't find internally satisfying or interesting tends not to get done. It's like a kind of paralysis, or I will, or sometimes randomly, someone will want to have an appointment with me, and I'll go to the appointment, and I'll speak to them. Like I'll speak to them when I because I feel, oh, this is interesting, and suddenly I'll stop being interested in it, but I won't be able to communicate to them adequately that I don't want to do it anymore, and sending an email could just feel too much like hard work. So then I end up not telling them I'm cancelling the appointment, and I feel really bad, but there's no way I can see them, and then they probably think I'm really rude. Again, later on I like send them an email, and they probably think I'm really rude because there's no correspondence. I just abruptly didn't attend, sort of things. That can sometimes happen as well. And I do feel this is an autism thing, but it's probably one of autism's greatest disabilities and handicaps because people don't understand and they put it down to other things when it's not that at all. It's literally something in the brain that kind of seizes up, and it's really annoying. So, and I think it is an executive thing, but let me know what you think. And I'm going to stop now, and I'll come back to this next week. So thank you for watching.